This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Prime.
Welcome to a brand new episode of CMB Bazaar Buzz. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. We'll get started with looking at what's on today's program. The Royal Enfield Thunderbird 500X, they have its full review. BMW has a special initiative at its plant in Chennai. And speaking of BMWs, we have two of the BMW bikes going around the world from India. Now, Royal Enfield has relaunched its Thunderbird with a little bit of a difference. Yes, of course, there are certain changes on the bike, and it's also changed in terms of its overall appeal. But is it enough? And what other details about it do you really need to know? Preetham has spent time with it. Here's the review.
The Royal Enfield Thunderbird doesn't quite sell as much as the Classic or the Bullet series, and now Royal Enfield has done what could give the Thunderbird a shot in the arm to make it more appealing, more stylish, and target buyers who have been using Royal Enfield bikes for daily use in and around the city. It's the first factory custom inspired motorcycle from the Royal Enfield stable, and it gets new colours and new styling. The shiny chrome has been ditched in favour of a blacked out look. The pillion grab rails are neatly tucked on the side of the seat, which is now a single unit with new material and colour coordinated stitching. The front forks are blacked out too, and for the first time in a Royal Enfield bike, the Thunderbird X gets factory fitted alloy wheels and tubeless tyres. Another first. The wheels get a colour coordinated strip around the rim, and the handlebar is all new and is now a flat blacked out straight piece. But not much has changed on the inside. The Thunderbird X gets the same chassis, same suspension and same engine. And the one we're riding, the Thunderbird 500X, uses the same engine as the standard Thunderbird, so ride quality is pliant and feels familiar, soaking up road imperfections and bumps with ease. The handlebar design is new and it's a flat single piece, and that has changed the riding position somewhat, but only for the better. The front end feels more communicative and begs you to ride it in a slightly sporty fashion. But the foot pegs scrape too soon around the corner and the engine gives a familiar feeling. Although it makes decent power figures, the engine doesn't like being revved. 3500 RPM and below, or about 80 to 90 km per hour, is where the Thunderbird 500X is happiest. Any more revs or speed and the vibrations start creeping in, making it not so pleasant after a few minutes of high-speed riding.
So we've been riding the new Royal Enfield Thunderbird 500X today. What's changed? Not much really. Same engine, same chassis, same ride quality. A little different is the riding position because of the handlebar. It's flat and wide, quite easy to maneuver in the traffic. Very nice feeling there. New colors, looks very nice and fresh. What could have definitely improved the build quality? You can see a very nasty looking wedge on the tank here. Brakes, it's got disc brakes front and rear, but the feel of the brakes could have been a little better. I hope ABS is offered. No ABS offered as yet. I hope Royal Enfield introduces ABS soon enough. Better brakes could have been better. Overall, it's the same Royal Enfield Thunderbird 500, but with new looks, new ergonomics and fresh appeal.
At heart though, the Thunderbird 500X is still the same Thunderbird with all its qualities and character. It's not an upgrade performance-wise, and it doesn't get any new technology to speak of except for the tubeless tyres and alloy wheels. Priced at just under 2 lakh rupees, the Royal Enfield Thunderbird 500X is around 7 to 8,000 rupees more expensive than the regular Thunderbird, but with the restyled design and attractive new colours, it still makes for a close look. More so if you are a Royal Enfield fan.
We'll have more on that bike and how it compares to others in the market. In fact, if you're shopping in that segment, we'll pit it against its rivals. That's on next week's show. Now we'll move on and talk about the BMW plant in Chennai. There's a lot that's been happening there in terms of expansion and even new tooling over the last few months. In fact, over the last year, I would say. And now there's a special CSR initiative from BMW that we thought was interesting enough to bring you. What BMW has done is essentially provided some of its engines to technical training institutes so students can get a hang of some of this new technology that's coming into the country. Here are more details. Amaya Naik went down to Chennai to bring you.
It has been a great 2017 for BMW India in terms of sales, as it has seen robust growth of 25% as compared to 2016. The company sold 9,800 units, and spearheading this growth were the X1, the X5 and the newly launched 5 Series, all of which are produced at the company's manufacturing facility in Chennai.
It's always great to be part of a company's manufacturing facility. And look behind me, you can see this is a playground for someone like us, or someone like me rather, where you see everything out in the open, see how a car is being made. Behind me, there's a special place because that's where the body gets integrated into the engine. That's the marriage bay, as it's called. This is BMW's Chennai Plant, and it has been here for 11 years. Currently produces 8 cars locally, and the Countryman is coming this year itself. The new Countryman is coming this year, and the X4 too will come by 2019. But if you look around, it's a brilliant facility. It's fun to be around with. 46 units per day is what this facility is capable of doing. And well, I can't wait to go back and take a look at how the assembly happens.
Currently, the company assembles 8 models at this plant, and there are 2 assembly lines which put everything together, and it takes a lot of time, effort and skill to make this happen. And skill is exactly what the auto industry needs at this point, with fast changing dynamics of the market. To promote and improve the skill set in India, the company launched an initiative which will see it provide 365 BMW engines and transmission units for learning purposes to engineering and technical institutes at no cost. And who better than the master blaster Sachin Tendulkar to initiate the proceedings?
Last year when we declared a strategy of Power to Lead, we clearly said that we want to be leading the industry in the way we do things. We want to be a benchmark. So I think today what we launched, the Skill Next initiative, is part of that bigger framework or umbrella, you call it. But this one is not aimed towards any commercial realization. This is more towards developing the skill set in India, and that's why we call it the Skill Next initiative, part of our next 100-year strategy as well. So what we're doing here is, what we've seen is that, the premium car space, if you look at it in the last 10 years, since we entered, we've seen a lot of growth in the market. We ourselves have sold around 70,000 cars in the Indian market till now. And when I look at the spread of these cars, it's not just limited to metro. It's also in, emerging towns like the tier 2 and 3 towns. And then when I look at the educational institutes that are training our engineers and the technicians, and when I look at the technology they're working with, they're still working with really outdated technologies. So there was always this need for us to see whether we could bridge this gap in this, what's required in the market and what's actually happening in our educational institution.
The handover of demonstration units will be done on a first-come, first-served basis after new undertakings are submitted by the institutes. The undertakings will ensure that the engine and transmission units are used inside the laboratories on campuses of the institutes and for learning purposes only. The engines in question here are the BMW twin-power turbo inline 4-cylinder diesel, and the transmission is the 8-speed step-turning automatic, both of which currently do duty on a whole bunch of cars from the company's stable. It also plans to hold workshop where BMW's professional trainers will guide the students about the technical aspects of the power plant, as also conducting practical sessions for a hands-on approach.
Jaguar Land Rover back to its winning ways, and no surprise, the Velar driving home with the World Car Design Trophy 2 years in a row. Dr. Speth, it's great to see you, and many congratulations.
First of all, thank you very much. We feel very honored, and it's also a proof that we are on the right way. And the difference makes that Czech also always delivered outstanding vehicles with characters, with capability, but also with technology. And this Velar again proves that this is the right recipe, this compelling combination out of British design and really engineering integrity.
The fact that, it wasn't a double win like last year for you, I know, but even the fact that the Velar was a finalist for even the World Car of the Year, it represents what's happening in the market. I mean, it's not just about SUVs, but it's also about a certain kind of SUV, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also about different categories of cars, and therefore we really value also the World Car of the Year was very, very highly, because there are 82 assessors checking the vehicles and checking it in detail. So for us, it's really an honor to receive this award.
Now,
so thanks a lot.
No, and we're very happy with I think all the winners. Tell me this: when you approach, the Velar, before you brought it to the market, there was a lot of talk about the Range Rover family. Is there space for one more member? The success that you've already seen with the car, that kind of proves to you that you're on the right track with the Evoque, the Velar, the Sport, and then of course the Range Rover.
Below the mother brand of Land Rover, we have three families. The Range Rover family, and I guess we've done a lot for the Range Rover family with a clear hierarchy and a clear product portfolio. In addition, we also have done now and developed vehicles on the Discovery side, the Discovery, but also the Discovery Sport. And wait, there's also a third pillar coming
Coming soon, and we can't wait. I can tell you. One last thing I have to ask you, as always, about the Indian market. We keep looking for even more acceleration and aggression from you in terms of local production, and also, of course, expanding your base in terms of numbers of cars sold every year. Post, I guess, Brexit, there's a lot of talk about what happens with Slovakia, with Brazil, but what about India? Where does India fit into the long-term plan?
At the end of the day, in India is Tata. And Tata is absolutely our mother company, so we feel honored. And Ratan Tata really saves the company, as you know. And therefore we want to do special things in India. And it's great to be there. Nevertheless, we also have seen that the economy in India is not as fast developing as we all have hoped. And we hope now with this kind of steady growth with a GDP growth of 6 to 7%, that in India, from an economic point of view, the breakthrough is coming. Please be assured, we are prepared to expand following the economy.
And you're excited with the reception for the I-Pace as well, globally?
Absolutely.
It's a huge direction now for the company.
The I-Pace is very well received all around the world, and we are leading in this kind of technology. And it's the very first premium battery electric vehicle with a tailor-made package using the freedom of the technology. And that makes such a difference. Taking care about safety, taking care about also range anxiety and all these kind of things which are coming up with new mobility. And now, based on the collaboration with Waymo, we have partnered up with the very best team in terms of future autonomous driving.
And it will be a strong contender next year, I know. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
Congratulations again. That trophy looks great next to the Velar.
Okay.
Many congrats. Time for a short break here on Bazaar Buzz. We come back with more, including answers to your questions. Keep watching.